I was 10 the first time I had a panic attack about hell. Not a dramatic one, just a slow motion terror. The kind where your body forgets it's safe. I remember staring at the popcorn ceiling above my bed, wondering if I'd burn forever for lying to my mom about the broken lamp. The scary part wasn't the fire, it was the silence. No voice from heaven, no divine override, just the unbearable weight of being 10 and already certain God would throw me away. So today, let's ask, what if the version of God we inherited is more terrifying than any hell we were taught to fear? I'm Theology Jack, your guide in exploring life's biggest questions and mysteries. Let's get uncomfortable. Hell makes the whole system work. It's the theological boogeyman in the basement, the one we're told we never have to meet if we just believe hard enough, or pray right, or pick the correct denomination, or confess fast enough before the semi-truck hits. Here's my secret loophole. I came up with this as a teenager. I was always taught that no one knows the time or hour of Jesus' return. So I would simply declare before the world that Jesus was returning in the next hour. That way, I knew he wasn't. Then I could sin for my free hour and then confess my sins at the end of it, and like that, I'm home free. You're shaking your head, but I really thought that would work. Anyway, it's funny. For a place we're allegedly safe from, hell seems to show up in almost every sermon, and not as a mystery, as a threat. But here's the weird part. The Bible doesn't even talk about hell the way modern Christianity does. There is no eternal conscious torment in the Hebrew scriptures. There's Sheol, the shadowy underworld. Everyone goes there, good or evil. It's more dust than dungeon. And Jesus, the man who supposedly talks about hell more than anyone, he says Gehenna, a Greek word for a literal valley outside Jerusalem where trash was burned and bodies were sometimes dumped. It was a warning about the consequences of violence and empire, not a metaphysical torture chamber with assigned seating. But somewhere along the way, we turned a metaphor into a marketing strategy. I had a mentor once, former pastor, brilliant, burnt out. He used to say, hell isn't real, but it's useful. Keeps the pews full, keeps the questions down, it keeps the shame close. He told me this the week he left ministry, just packed up and walked out. Later, he told me the moment he knew he couldn't do it anymore. A kid had come to the youth group crying because he thought his dead older brother was in hell, killed in a car accident, not baptized, not saved. The youth leader told that boy, "That's why it's important you're here tonight." And that was it. One more human body added to the theological bonfire. So here's where things started to shift for me. If God is love, why would love require a hostage situation? What kind of parent says, choose me or I'll torture you forever? That's not devotion. That's divine gaslighting. I remember sitting in a seminary class and a professor, well-meaning, systematic Calvinist, explained that God's justice required eternal punishment, that hell was a necessary part of God's glory, that our finite sins deserved infinite pain because they were against an infinite being. I raised my hand and I asked, if I tortured someone forever, would that glorify me? He didn't have an answer, because the God of love and the God of hell can't live in the same house. The cracks in the doctrine start small. You ask how someone could be happy in heaven while knowing their child, their spouse, or best friend is burning. Some say God erases those memories. Others say we'll rejoice in their justice. Either way, love has left the building. I once heard a preacher say, in heaven, your compassion will align with God's judgment. Translation, you'll stop loving the people you love. But if salvation requires you to become someone who can watch others suffer and call it good, then maybe being unsaved is the more Christ-like option. Now, let me say something that might sting. Most Christians don't really believe in hell. Oh, they say they do. But if we truly believed that every non-Christian was headed for eternal agony, we'd never sleep. We'd never stop preaching. We'd skip birthday parties and Netflix and PTA meetings because the stakes would be too high. Hell turns people into monsters or liars or numb. And I get it. Because if you stare at that kind of horror long enough, something inside you breaks or calcifies or just quietly shuts down to survive. I remember one night driving home from a funeral, pulling over and screaming at the sky. If hell is real, I don't want to be saved. And I meant it. Because salvation at the cost of my humanity isn't salvation. It's a theologically dressed up hostage exchange. Let's talk Bible. Jesus weeps over Jerusalem. He tells parables about lost sheep and coins and prodigal sons. And he says things like, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. And when his disciples ask if they should call down fire from heaven to punish a town, he rebukes them. The clearest glimpse we get of God is a man dying with forgiveness on his lips, not fury. There's no gloating, no torture, no eternal revenge fantasy. In fact, Paul says love keeps no record of wrongs, that it always hopes, always perseveres. You know what doesn't persevere? A love that gives up on someone the moment they die. But let's be real. Some people need hell to be real. Not because of justice, but because of vengeance. Because if there's no eternal punishment, then the people who hurt us get off easy. And that's hard to swallow. I know survivors of abuse who hold on to hell because it's the only place where the pain might make sense. It's the only version of justice they've been offered. So when we talk about a hell-less faith, we better not do it casually. We better not erase the ache that made it seem necessary. Instead, we need better visions of justice. Not divine torture, but divine restoration. Not eternal suffering, but honest healing. Because real justice isn't about satisfying rage, it's about making the broken whole. So maybe this is where it starts. We walk away. Not from God, but from the story that says God is love with a knife behind his back. We stop using fear to keep people faithful. We stop pretending a theology of torment is compatible with the Jesus who broke bread with traitors and washed the feet of cowards. And maybe, just maybe, we dare to believe that love doesn't need a hell to prove itself. Here's my confession. I still flinch when someone says hell. Even now, some part of my brain whispers, but if you're wrong, fear doesn't leave easy. It's been rehearsed too long. But I've decided something. If the God who made galaxies needs me to be afraid in order to love me back, then I'll take my chances outside the gates. Because I'd rather burn with the condemned in love than sing with the saved in fear. Maybe God doesn't control everything, but maybe God's right here in the wreckage, holding the hand of every soul someone else already condemned. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading everything and might even include your ideas in a future video. And hey, quick reminder, click like just to be cool. And hey, if this is your kind of stuff, hit subscribe for more. It helps me so much. Let's map ideas that change the world together. And thanks for watching till the end, fellow explorers. Stay curious and embrace the mystery. This is Theology Jack, signing off.